Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to my Saturday Stamping. Good morning, Kelly on Facebook, and good morning, Mary on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining me. Oh my gosh, it's so weird to come back to snow. I thought I'd finally come back and it would start to look a little bit like spring. So when I left, I planned for today. And I planned on some spring stuff because I was hoping that by the time I came back, it would look a little bit more like spring. We spring forward after all this weekend on daylight savings. Good morning, Amanda. Good morning, Betty. Good morning, Linda. So I was really hoping that there'd be spring, but it is not meant to be yet. Hopefully by later this week. I had such a great time in Florida. I know. Good morning, Mary. Oh, you're going to Fort Myers this morning. Have fun with that. Good morning, Shanna. Um, I was in Siesta Key, and that's where my parents rent a place for a month, and we had red tide pretty bad. They said it was the worst that it was last week when I came in on Friday and Saturday and Sunday. By Monday, it was a little bit better, but we were still, the minute you went outside, you'd start to cough and stuff. And it smelled like dead fish, and you could see the dead fish on the shore. If you look at the picture that I posted, you can see some of the dead fish on there. On Wednesday, the place that we stayed at, good morning, Robin. Thank you. Good morning, Barbara. Um, the place that we stayed at chose to get rid of all of the dead fish along the shore. And so that was really, really nice of them. It cleaned up really nice. Good morning, Dee and Karen. Um, but other places, like the public beach didn't, the county didn't come in and clean everything up yet. I think they were kind of waiting for the red tide to go down before they come in and clean everything up. But it was really nice. It was in the 80s every day. And we had my mom and dad and my mom and dad treated me to a sunset dinner cruise, and so we were able to go out, and we had prime rib and salmon, and it was really nice. And we didn't think we were going to have a sunset because it was cloudy in the afternoon, but then just before sunset the clouds went away and it was a gorgeous sunset. So I had a blast. It was hard to come home. I'm going to tell you that 7 days just wasn't enough. Good morning, Denise. But I am so fortunate to be able to have my parents that allow me to come and stay with them. And Lila was well taken care of. I have a pet sitter that comes in every day to do some human interaction with her, so that she's not home alone all day. And then sometimes I have things at night and then she's home alone at night. And so I pay someone to come in every day and spend an hour with her. So she moved into my house for the week. So it was really nice. Lila probably got spoiled and she's probably sad that I'm back, although she did give me lots of kisses and she was super, super excited last night. Um, oh, Denise, I'm so sorry you were recovering from COVID. That sucks. I'm sorry. That's really, really bad. Um, but anyhow, so she was super, super excited to see me. So that was the best part about coming home, was having somebody waiting to greet me and giving me all of her puppy kisses. So I wanted to share with you some Happy Meal. Actually, before I do that, I want to do this. I am going to be drawing for the prize for those of you that participated in my creative challenge. So I'm going to get all the names and put them in my little Lila mug. And if I missed your name, please put in the comments that I missed it so that I can quickly write your name and add it. So I want to do it now. I'll do Happy Mail and the other prizes, and I'll do this at the end. So I have Mary Linsmeyer, Diane Van Grull, Karen Roofing, Amanda Shabo. We're sticking together here. Robin Schilke, Julie Schleve, Lisa Nealon, Mandy Hoare, and Linda Kester. So if I missed you and you did that, oh my goodness, you need to go back to that post and look at some of the phenomenal cards. There were some really, really, really cool ones there. So if you did a card and you posted it and I missed you somehow, please let me know. So Happy Mail, when I got home, besides bills and catalogs and all of that junk, I did have a couple. This was a birthday card for Miss Lila. So I put that out there. Lila turned 7 on the 27th of February. And so I did have a special that if you purchased the Easter Bunny set, you will get the card stock to make 4 cards along with the instructions and a quarter of a pack of that Dandy Design, which was a celebration product. I happen to have some left. So you will get that and the directions on how to make 4 cards along with the cardstock you need to make that. And so this is a different bunny set. And this is from Karen Roofing. Look at, there was this cute design. It opens like this, and then it pops open this way. And she said, happy birthday to Lila and tell your people thank you for the birthday gift. So you are welcome, Karen. Oh, Aline, I thought I wrote your name. Thank you for saying that. Let me make sure I have you in here because I did have your name. I just want to make sure I didn't put it in with someone else. Otherwise, I will write it again. Aline, I will write it again. I don't know where it went because I know I wrote it. So thank you. This is why I did that. Did you ever make First Communion cards? I keep looking for new ideas. Every year I try a new design. I haven't made First Communion cards for a while, but I have to make one this year because I'm a prayer partner for someone. And so I do have to make First Communion cards. So when I come up with something, Denise, I will let you know. I'm thinking I'm going to use, I have, do I have it handy? Yes, I do. I have, here we go. I have this stamp set that I got, Rejoice in Him. And I'm thinking I might use this little Jesus thing here. And if I make something, I'll share it with you, Denise, and let you know. And then I received this from Cheryl McClure. She's in Wyoming, I think. And it was thank you for, and she has, look at this. She didn't even put it in, she decorated an envelope, so it's all ready for me to reuse it. Okay. And she's got her card here that she didn't write in, and she wrote a little note on here. And even the note that she wrote on here has a little carrot on it. Thank you so much for the flat adhesive pearls. She won for sharing. So anytime you share, you get put into a drawing to win prizes. All right. So, Aline, I have to write. Let me get a slip here. And I'm going to write your name. Aline Humphrey. All right. I'm sorry about that. I swear I did your name, so I don't know what I did with it, but there we go. I wrote your name down and it's going in there. Oh my goodness. I just got ink all over me. Let me grab. Oh, look at, I've got ink on everything. I'm going to get this off my hand so I don't keep passing it on to other things. Sorry about that. My pen must have exploded in there. It's a Stampin' Up pen that I got at, at an event. I posted my space card. Ah, Mary, you did. Where are the other ones that I didn't? I know I wrote your name too, Mary. I put them over to my trimmer and I was cutting them down because the strips were longer, and I must have missed Mary Van Domelen. Okay, Mary, yours is going in. All right. Anyone else that I missed? Hopefully I didn't miss anybody else. Oh, snowy Canada as well. Oh, I'm hoping the snow goes away. Okay, last week we did this little easel card with the piñata. This was actually 2 weeks ago when I was here. And we made the triple easel. So I had the beach themed one going on, and we also had the mountains. So whatever you prefer, whatever getaway you like. So we had our mountain one here, Mountains of Thanks, and our little mountain climber and our trees. Okay. Mary, yours was the very first one. So I did get yours. So I did get you in, so that's good. Um, Winning these for, and I gotta find my list here now, for commenting is Tammy Litsky. So, Tammy, if you are watching or watching the replay, I do have your address and I will get these in the mail to you this week. Okay, and then for sharing. So, if you hit share and you share it with somebody else, oh, Betty, more snow is coming tonight. I heard that. I'm not too excited about that. But if you put in to share, you also get put into a drawing to win prizes. And gosh, there were a lot of people. I think I had 14 people that ended up sharing it last time. So receiving these are no longer available, and I love these. But I happen to have a pack that wasn't opened. And so these are the adhesive back Milky Dots. So receiving these is Kelly Wildenberg. So Kelly, I'll probably get these in the mail because I won't see you for another 2 weeks. So I will get these in the mail to you. And then for placing an order. So anytime you place an order, you get put into a drawing as well. And winning this is a hostess set. It's called At the Pond, and it's this cute little frog. And there's little, it doesn't have any greetings, but it has like this little log. It has a little firefly that's kind of cartoonish and some cattails and things like that. Winning this set is Denise Umloft. So, Denise, I will get this in the mail to you. Thank you to all of you for your order. If you did place the Easter Bunny order, I'm working on cutting all of that cardstock and I will get that in the mail this week. You will also be getting a PDF tutorial with all of the instructions on how to put the cards together. And let's see what else. Oh, and I also have a sale going on in the month of March. If you order the Irresistible Blooms bundle, so the stamp set and the dies, you will get a free pack. And these are out of stock right now, but they are coming back in. The loose frosted dots, you will get a pack of these along with not the cardstock pack, but instructions and with pictures of 6 different cards with that bundle being used. So it's my gift to you if you buy that. I wanted to talk a little bit about that before I pick this winner. Stampin' Up! Is trying something different that other companies are doing, and it's offering some online exclusives. So we already have our kits that different ones come out and they're not really in a catalog. The online exclusives are things that will be out for a certain period of time and they don't tell us how long. Some of them they will restock. So like these loose frosted dots, they are restocking those even though they're out right now. But they will kind of go along with whatever is happening. So what's out right now is kind of spring. They also brought back some punches. So if you like punches, the 1 3/4 inch punch, and I think the other one may be 2 1/4, I can't remember, or 2 inch. They do have some of the punches back. They are not putting these in any catalogs. You can only order them online. Well, you can order them from me if you want as well, but you're only going to see them online in the online store. If you go to new things that are added, you will see all of them there. I ordered some right before I left, thinking I would have them back and I would be able to make my last card. I had 2 cards done before I left, and I had 1 card that I had to make, and I was going to make it with one of the online exclusives, but my order didn't come yet because I didn't ship it second day air, which I usually ship my stuff second day air because then I know it's going to go out the day I order it. But it's not coming until next week. So next week, I will be featuring some of the stuff that's in the online exclusive. Speaking of next week, I will be a little bit later next week. I'll be coming on about 1 or 1:30 because I do have a card buffet Saturday morning. All right, let's pick our big winner. So again, all of the people, I want to just make sure with my comments. I don't think I had anyone else. I added Mary. She told me that on YouTube. Oh, she also told me on Facebook. And I added Aline, and I think that was it. Okay, so again, the winner can either choose this little dandy thing along with the cutters. Nothing has been used. Or you can pick the bundle of your choice. It's entirely up to you because some of you may have this already. So I'm going to go ahead and mix these up. And I'm not looking. And I am picking this one right here, Karen Roofing. So Karen, congratulations. You will be able to let me know if you want this little guy or if you want to pick a bundle from any of the active catalogs. It can also be one of the online exclusives. There's a little, I think it's a little rhinoceros, and it has some trees and stuff that go with it. So it's kind of cute. So congratulations and thank you to all of you who participated. All right, I am going to turn things around here and go to my other, let's see, there we go. Go to my phone and we will do some stamping. All right, I thought that since I had that, whoa, excuse me, since I had that special, I would do another card besides the 4 that I have coming. I would do a card that was an Easter card using the Easter Bunny. This is going to be my SIP card, stamp, ink, and paper only. But we're going to do a couple of different techniques with this. I'm getting some stuff out. We're going to use these brass butterflies. I love these. I hope that they never go away because I just love them. They're so easy to add to a card. And yeah, I just love them. So I will have these directions written up. I did not get these typed up. And because my body was on a different time zone and I ended up getting home almost an hour and a half later than I was supposed to yesterday because of bad weather, I will get these typed up. And my body was on an hour different time zone. So I'm like, I'm just going to type these up. I have all the dimensions on them because I did that before I left. But I just wanted to get to bed last night. All right. Thank you, Linda. She's making sure that people like me and YouTube. That's great. I have some mint macron and a little bit of basic white that I have as some scraps here. This first fold is called a double Z fold. And so this first layer, this is crumb cake, is 4 1/4 by 11. And I scored this at 2 3/4 and 5 1/2. So each of these sections, is 2 3/4. Then the second part of the Z fold, I also did in crumb cake. And this measures, let me turn it this way. It measures 3 1/2 this way by 10 3/4. And I scored this at 3 1/2. So this section right here is 3 1/2 by 3 1/2. Then this is at 6 3/4. So this is just a little bit shorter than that. And then this piece right here is different too. So they're not all the same. All right. You had to do it that way for the Z fold to kind of fit. All right. I have some petal pink. Isn't this a springy color? I'm going with pastel springs rather than bright springs today. We've got 4 by 5 1/4. And I have 2 pieces of this gingham. This is the petal pink gingham that measure 2 1/2 by 4. So that will be able to go on each of these. I have some gingham that is in the mint macron that measures 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. And then remember how I said this section, this section right here was just a little bit off from that. It's not quite as big. You're going to have a second one that measures 3 1/4 by 3. Okay, so it's only 3 inches wide, or it's 3 1/4, so I cut it at 3. All right, we have a piece that's 3 1/4 by 3 3/4. That's going to go on here for a greeting. And then for our front, we have a 2 1/2 by 2 1/2 in crumb cake and a 2 1/4 by 2 1/4 in basic white. And I have this for my envelope. Let's do that right away. Then I'm going to, actually, let's do that after. I will do that at the end. I've got a lot of stamping to do on this one because this is stamp, ink, and paper, and it is not, I'm going to take the 2 white pieces and we're going to stamp on them, and then we will put this all together. I promise. All right. So I have some scraps and I have some white. I'm going to use Memento ink because I am going to be doing some coloring, and I'm going to color with my blends. So I have to make sure that I'm using Memento ink for that so that the colors don't run. I am using this little bunny. Whoops, excuse me. I'm going to stamp him and he fits right on there. Okay, and then I have to get some scrap paper. Sorry about that. I thought I had everything set to go, but I do not. All right, I am going to do a little bit of masking today. And so when you do masking, what you want to do is you want to stamp what you want to be in your forefront. You want to stamp that first. And then you want to cover it with some little masks. So I did this grassy stamp. So I'm going to, again, stand up. And I'm just going to stamp that along the bottom here a couple of times. Okay, what I want buried in this grass, so to speak, is some of the Easter eggs. So I made these masks. I used our masking paper, which is sticky, almost like a Post-it note. All right, and when you cut that out, notice how I cut it. I don't know if you can see this. Normally, when I do fussy cutting, I will cut and have a little bit of space on the outside of my line. When you're doing it for masking, you want to make sure you cut right up into those stamped lines. So I'm going to go ahead and place this over the grass. Make sure I have it in the right spot here. And like I said, it's just a little sticker that's covering my grass so that I can take my Easter eggs and stamp them. And when I remove this, it looks like my Easter eggs are lying behind the grass and the grass is in front of it. So I'm going to move this again. Let's see here. Make sure I get it on the right spot. There we go. Okay, and then I'm going to ink up my eggs again. And stamp those. And then I've got one more time. I'm going to do it over on this other end. And this is super easy to do. I sometimes get mixed up as far as which one I'm supposed to stamp first. I don't know about you, but it's like, okay, do I stamp the eggs first and cover them? Or do I stamp the grass first and cover it? It depends what you want in the front. I wanted the grass in front of the eggs, and so I had to stamp the grass first. And then after I stamped the grass, then I had to stamp the eggs. Okay, I'm going to keep these because I can reuse this. I'm also going to stamp a couple of, these grass on some mint macaron. Okay, we're going to fussy cut those out. I'll show you how easy it is to fussy cut them out. I just ripped this. And on my white scrap, I'm going to stamp a carrot that I'm going to put in my little Easter bunny's hand. And on this, I'm going to stamp Happy Easter. Okay, because I chose crumb cake, I think that's it for stamping. I'm going to put my stamps back, and I'm going to grab the blends. All right, so I have some blends. And what I decided to do is, because I chose crumb cake as my background, I decided that my bunny was going to be colored in crumb cake. I am going to take, this is a dark petal pink, and I'm just going to color, actually, you know what, I'm going to take the bullet point tip, and I'm going to color that, and I'm going to just put a little bit around by his nose. So just a little bit of color there. And then the rest of him, except for his little tail and his little belly, I'm going to color in Crumb Cake. So I'm just going to, this is the light crumb cake. The dark was a little bit too dark. So I'm going to get his ears there, and then I'm going to come in, since the rest of him or her is a little bit bigger area, I can use the brush tip rather than the pointed tip. I did it on the ears because I didn't want to go accidentally get into the pink over here. So I find with our Stampin' Write markers, a lot of people are like, I just feel like the fine tip doesn't work real well. And I find that sometimes too. But with our Stampin' Blends, I actually really like the fine tip. All right, I'm going to take a little bit of Wink of Stella, and I'm going to color his tail with that so that it sparkles. And his little belly, I'm going to do with that as well. All right, then our Easter eggs. I've got a dark So Saffron. This is for our carrot. I have some mint macaron. This is a dark mint macaron. This is a light balmy blue. I have a light sweet sorbet, and I have a light Highland heather. And I'm going to use these colors to color in those Easter eggs because I just felt that they were great Easter colors. So I'm just randomly I'm starting with the Highland Heather, and I'm just going to pick a couple of different eggs that I'm going to add things. And this is probably going to look different than the last one that I did just because they don't all have to look the same. I'm just kind of coloring in some different areas. And that's all I'll do in that one. My mint macaron, I'm going to do a couple of things. I'm going to color the grass so that gets colored in green. But then I'm also going to use it for some of my Easter eggs. So this grass is going to be all colored in. And I could have colored this ahead of time, but I wanted you to see just that it doesn't really take all that long to do this coloring. And then this grass is setting right over the top of those eggs. So that works out perfect. We got a little bit here. All right, I'm going to take some of my Petal Pink and we'll color a couple of these. And you could color, you don't have to color like checkered like I'm doing right now. You could color it all in one color if you wanted to. I'm choosing to just be a little picky here. I've got some balmy blue. I think I'll do that with this Petal Pink here. All right, I think I'll also color in these little dots with that. And I'll color this egg over here, one that's hanging off the edge there a little bit. Some So Saffron. I'll color this in with the blue. Add a little yellow to that. Add some yellow over here. Okay, and I think I'm going to do these dots in yellow. All right, and then I've got some sweet sorbet. I think that's what this one is. Yes, light sweet sorbet. And we'll come in here and do a little bit of that here. And we'll do some here. And the reason I picked the sweet sorbet is it was one of the colors that was in with, I'm going to bring back my Petal Pink. I'm just going to color in. This I can go over the purple that's there. Won't hurt it at all. And I think I'll bring it back in some purple here. Sweet sorbet was one of the colors that was in that gingham set, and so that's why I decided to do that color. And let's do a little balmy blue with this pink here. All right, so we've got our cute little Easter eggs all colored up. I'm going to bring my carrot in and I am going to color that with, this is a dark pumpkin pie. And I probably could have used that if I wanted to, or taken the light color and used that as a color. I don't know why I didn't. I just picked some colors when I was doing this before I left. Okay, and that is that. Now, I'm done coloring, so I'm going to get my colors out of here. I'm not done. I'm going to bring this back in. The other thing that I have to do yet is I have to take a piece of ribbon that we're going to be putting on here, and I want to color it mint macaron. This is our white crinkle ribbon, and you can color this any color you want. And I wanted to get some mint macaron on there, so I am just running this right over the ribbon, and it's coloring it on the front and the back. And I don't need a lot. I think that should be plenty to make a bow. I just need a really little bow. All right, so I've got my ribbon colored as well. All right, I'm going to take this scissors and I'm going to fussy cut out each of these little pieces of grass. And when I'm fussy cutting and I'm not using it as a mask, I want to leave a little bit of an edge around the outside of the stamped image of those black lines. It just looks a little bit nicer when you do that instead of having to try to cut right up to the line. I leave just a little bit of an edge around the outside. Whoops, I got disconnected here. Just hang tight. Let me see if I can get connected again. Am I back? I think I'm back. And I'm still muted. Sorry about that. I don't know. I still don't know why that happens. Mary, you enjoy Fort Myers. These cards are going to take the basket. I'm going to make a little Easter basket to match this. That's my second project. That does not take nearly as long as this card does because I am doing a little bit of fussy cutting and stuff. It's just stamp, ink, and paper. So you don't need any special supplies. And it's so funny, when we were in Florida, my mom and I went to the pool every morning and we swam for an hour to an hour and a half. And we met this lady last year. My mom might have met her a couple years ago. Her name is Julie. She might be watching because we started talking and I was talking about stamping and stuff. And she said, "Oh, I used to stamp. I have so much cardstock and that." And I said, "Well, you can watch my Facebook Live." I ended up giving her a catalog because I said there's so many ideas in there that you don't have to use the stamps that I have. You can use the same idea with maybe something that you have in your collection of stamps. So maybe there's something that you can use masking for and make it look like you have several layers of something without having to have this particular stamp set. Okay, so I have my grass cut out. That didn't take real long. And I also have to cut out my little carrot. And this doesn't really take all that long either. I think I've said it before, but I'll say it again in case anybody's new here. When I fussy cut, my hand with the scissors doesn't do any of the moving. It just slowly closes. And my hand on my left hand moves the paper where I want it to be cut. So my left hand is doing all of the movement and my right hand is just, the scissors is just closing as my left hand moves the paper where I want it to be cut. There we go. All right, we are ready to put this all together. All right, so I have all of these pieces. So the mint macaron, we'll take all of these off. I have to keep them because I have to still type this up. I did not type it up yet. So this one's going to go in here. Just going to decorate these up. So this is the one that was 3 1/4 by 3. It's just 1/4 of an inch smaller on the one side. I did not even check my glue. It's coming out pretty good considering it sat for a week. This is 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. See how Sweet Sorbet was one of the colors that was with that gingham paper, which is what caused me to grab that Stampin' Blend. Okay, and then this Happy Easter is going to be going over here. All right, that's Z-fold number 2. We did it first, but it's actually number 2. We can also attach this. Actually, you know what? I'm going to put the grass on first because the grass is going to go over the top of this and we may have to trim it. So I'm going to start with putting this here. And then we'll add a little bit more. I realized I needed 3 of them. 2 wasn't enough. And I wanted to overlap them just a little bit. And we've got one more here. And then we will do some trimming. Okay, so that's going to go on there. And then I'm going to take my scissors and I flip it over so that I can see where my white paper is. And I just trim off anything that's hanging over so that my little bunny is sitting in some grass. And I'm going to take, oops, I'm gonna cut some of my dimensionals and throw on a dimensional on this little carrot that he's going to be holding in his hand. Isn't he cute? I just love this little bunny. Lila loves bunnies too. She loves to chase them. When she was pregnant, she ended up finding a nest of bunnies and ate all of them. Yes, gross, I know. It was really gross when I made her throw them up. All right, this is going to go on the front, and I'm going to put that on with some dimensionals. You could put this on after you have the whole thing put together as well. In fact, when I made it, I think that's what I did, is I put it together. I added the picture last, or the stamped image, but it doesn't hurt to put it on now. Okay, on our bigger piece of Z-fold, we're going to bring in some of that petal pink color that we used in our eggs. So I'm using petal pink and mint macaron as my main colors. You could have done this all in mint macaron if you wanted to as well. I just thought it would be fun to have a couple of different colors when I did it. And so that's why I did that. These are 2.5 by 4, and I've got 2 of them so that I'm filling in all of these different spots. Okay, so this is what we call a Z-fold, and it's called a Z-fold because when you stand it up, it kind of looks like a Z. And this is going to go on here so that when I stand this up, these are going to be connected like that. So it's called a double Z-fold. I've got a Z-fold within another Z-fold. So I'm going to start by putting glue. And some people choose to use tear and tape for a card like this because it does kind of get pulled on. I find that liquid glue is just fine. And I'm just centering this on the back here. Okay, and I find that liquid glue is just fine, and it gives me a little more time, like I'm doing right now, is kind of moving this around. It gives me a little more wiggle room, I say. It's like right now this isn't straight, so I want to bring this down a little bit, and so I can still move that a little bit. If I had tear and tape, I wouldn't have been able to do that. Okay, then this is going to be attached to this, but I cannot put glue everywhere. Notice I can only put glue up until this part right here. So I'm going to go ahead, kind of eyeballed it, and just add glue there. Put that down. I probably could have gone a little further. What you can do if you want to make sure you have something that goes all the way out to the edge, you could put like some glue dots underneath there if you wanted to. I find that liquid glue works just fine. So I have my little bunny, and then when I open it up, and it sets up just like that. Isn't that cute? Okay, I have my ribbon, and I ended up coloring this again in mint macaron to match that mint macaron gingham. And I'm gonna make a really, really tiny bow. Now you could use a bow maker if you have one. I have one, but I wanted this super, super tiny. So when I did this before I left, I don't think I used my bow maker. I just kept kind of pulling on the ends a little bit to make those loops a little bit tinier, and then pulled back on the loops to make sure that the bow was tight. All right, I'm going to trim that off, grab a glue dot, and I'm going to have to kind of bunch this glue dot up a little bit because it's a little bit thicker than my bow. And I'm just going to attach that there on my bunny. And I might even have the tail go underneath so I can see that little carrot. Okay, so there's that little bow. And then I had these little butterflies. Oh, love these things. Nothing says spring like little butterflies, right? I'm going to take a couple of tiny ones. I'm going to put one there. And I'm going to put one over here. And then I'm going to take a big one and set that up where it says Happy Easter and where I can see it sticking out on the side there. Oops. So there is my little Easter card that is, I only use stamp, ink, and paper. I did not need a die cutting machine. I didn't have to emboss anything. Now, if you wanted to, you could step this up and you could emboss this back piece with panel with something. But I thought that it didn't really need it because I did spent a lot of time coloring those little eggs and doing some masking and such. So that is our first card. Well, yeah, our first card, I should say. Now I wanted to make a little treat basket that could go along with this card. I loved the gingham. And so I thought, let's make a little basket that has some gingham in it as well. So I found this on Pinterest, and Jill Olson did this. Oh gosh, she did it a really long time ago because I think she used certainly celery, and she had a ribbon that I do not remember ever having. So her handle was a lot thicker on her basket. Mine is going to be a little bit thinner. Hers was thicker because she glued a ribbon on that was like about an inch and a half thick. I'm choosing to use something that is just 3/4 of an inch. This is 3/4 of an inch by 11. This is just a 6x6 piece of paper, which is exactly what this paper comes in. The size of this paper, it's a 6x6 pack. All right, so I'm bringing my trimmer in here because I wanted to show you how I did this. So this is 6x6. I didn't cut anything off of it at all. Oh, I have to remind me to go back and do my envelopes in a little bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to score it. And when you're scoring designer series paper, you have to make sure that you do not press real hard. I'm doing it at 2 inches on all of the sides. Super easy. Okay, so I just did 2 inches on all 4 sides. I don't want this to go too far because I'm going to need it again. This is what our masking paper looks like. It just pulls off like this. You can stamp on one side and then you can cut around it. So that's what I used before. Let me finish up this envelope real quick so that our card is done. Then we'll go back to our basket. Sorry about that. I'm kind of jumping around here a little bit, but I don't want to forget to do this. So I just had a little piece of this left. When I cut off one of the pieces, I had some left. So I thought I'm going to use the mint macaron because I didn't have any of the pink left of that one from cutting anything. Because I could use one sheet of pink and I needed to use 2 sheets because it was bigger than 3 inches. There we go. So now we have our little envelope. I didn't do a very good job of cutting here. There we go. That's a little bit better. So we've got an envelope to match our Easter card. Okay, back to our basket. All right, we are going to take one side, actually 2 sides opposite each other. And on this score line, which it's maybe hard for you to see, so let me fold these. Maybe you can see them a little bit better. So on this score line, I'm going to cut up to that score line. Just going to make some little flaps. All right, I'm going to do that on this other side as well. Now, she did a whole bunch of gluing. I found it easier to use glue dots. What we're going to do, we're just going to bring these together like this to form a side of our basket. So I'm just taking the 2 sides and I'm bringing them together and I'm having these tips meet in the center there. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Now, what I did to make mine work, so first of all, I'm going to take this handle. I'm going to add the handle while I'm doing it. I'm just going to take my fingers, or you can use a bone folder, and I'm basically just breaking up those fibers so that this will bend to make the handle of my basket. Okay, so all I basically did was go ahead and use my fingers and kind of loosen this up a little bit. All right, I have my glue dots here. What I want to do is I want to put one on the back of this and on the back of that. So each of the tips are going to have one on the back part. So I'm going to go ahead and put one at that tip, and I'm going to put one on this tip. Okay, and I'm not doing anything with this middle piece yet. It's just kind of sitting there. Okay, so I'm bringing these together. Whoops, I needed to put it on the wrong side. I thought there was one that went on the pink side or the green side. One of them has to go on the green side. So I'm just going to add a dot in here. It's okay that one's on the other side. I'm eventually going to use it. All right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a glue dot on the front and on the back of this. And I'm going to slide this in here where I want it and press that down. And now I'm going to take a couple of glue dots and I'm going to put them on the tip of that green flap that's in there. So I've got a little square right here, this 2-inch square that is actually going to come up and get glued to that or taped to that. So see how that came up? This was a square right here, and I just put tape on either end and I put the handle in between it. Okay, we're going to repeat that. So I'll repeat it over here. Okay, so this is going to come up to a point. So I'm going to put one here and why did I put, yes, I'm going to put this one on the pink and this one on the green. Sorry about that. All of a sudden I'm like, Why is this not looking right? Okay, so I'm putting this one on the green, the one that's on the right, and I'm putting this on the back, the one that's on the left. Okay, so I'm going to match up in the center. So these two tips are going to meet up there, and I'm just going to press those down. Okay, so see how this, you see on the inside now, that little square is still flapping there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put glue dots on the front and on the back of this. And my square is still there. I'm going to put the handle, try to get inside of here so you can see it. So my square is still pushed down. I'm going to put the handle where I want it first. Okay, and now I'm going to put some glue dots on these little corners. Whoops, you can't see that. These little corners right here on each side of that little square. You can't see it because the handle's in the way. Sorry about that. Wasn't thinking of that when I was making this, that the handle would get in the way. So I'm just taking my scissors and pulling off my glue dots so I can put it on that corner. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the other corner. Okay, and there is my little basket. We're going to decorate one side of it. Okay, so I'm going to put my glue dots away for right this second. I'm going to take out a scrap of basic white. Now, you need to decide, should we do, I think we should do pink. I think we should do a pink little label on there. I think that's what we need to do. And then I did a mint one. I did mine in blue when I did it. So I'll show you that at the end. But I think I'm going to do a petal pink little tag. And let's see. We're going to use the punch this time. The punch is still, I believe, out of stock. I've been gone for a week, so I haven't checked that. So I think it's still out of stock, but you could always fussy cut this. Okay, so I just stamped the little bunny that's like that. Actually, while I have this out, let's take our tag. This just says an Easter treat for you. Oh, darn it. Let's see if I can match it up here or not. I don't think I'm going to be able to. No, let's go ahead. That means that we're supposed to use the mint macaron one. All right, let's see if I can do a better job here now that I'm standing up. There we go, an Easter treat for you. And I do have a little, this is from the Tailored Tags, and it does have, I was going to put a mint one on the petal pink tag, but I'll put a petal pink one on this mint one. So it just goes like that. So it's got a little of the pink color added to it. And this bunny, instead of doing him in crumb cake, and I know I said I was making it to match the card. Whoops. This goes this way so that the straight edge matches along the straight edge on the top. I decided I wanted him to be white instead of crumb cake. So what I'm going to do is, this is the light gray granite. And what I'm going to do is I'm basically just going to run across the outside and any of these marks that they have, just to give it some shadows and sort of make that white that I'm making him stand out a little bit. I am going to add a little bit of color into his ears, but for the most part, he's going to be white. I think I'm going to just outline that a little bit. This is a light flirty flamingo that I'm using, and I'm just gonna put a little bit of that in his ears and a little bit on his nose, and then we're just gonna punch him out. Don't have to fussy cut him if you have the punch. I did get this punch right at one of the first things because I just thought the little bunny set was so cute. All right, so we've got our bunny. I am going to take some Wink of Stella and I'm going to Wink of Stella him to make him shiny. You could do just his tail, but I decided since he was white that I wanted the whole bunny to be glittery. So he's going to be sparkling. All right. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add him right there with some dimensionals. I thought about putting him on a circle, but it just ended up being too big because we're going to tie that tag onto the handle. And so he really didn't need to have a whole nother circle there, I didn't think. Okay, so I've got the bunny, and he's just going to go right there. And I have some of that crinkle ribbon, which I'm not, this time I'm not coloring it because I want the white to stand out with the mint macaron. Oh my goodness, I cut way too much. Let's cut this off a little bit here. What was I thinking? I need to bring this to the front. There we go. And I want the knot to be kind of where that little pink is that I did. And I'm going to tie this in a bow as well. 2 bows in one day on a live video. Oh goodness, what was I thinking when I made these before I left? And I hadn't been stamping for a week and I came back. All right, let's see here. There we go. Get that around there. Get an opening for it to go through, pull through. There we go. And we'll trim that up. And I did take just a glue dot, I think. At least when I looked at it last night, I could see a glue dot there. And I'm just going to take that and I'm going to put it back here so that my tag sort of stays where I want it to go. All right, so an Easter treat for you with a little bunny on it. Isn't that cute? And then you can just take some, I just have some white shreds here. You could take Easter grass or whatever you want. And now I have a card and I have a little Easter basket. This is big enough to fit, and I was going to get Easter candy and I completely forgot. I even ran to Meijer before I left for vacation to get a few snacks for my dog sitter, who's the person who moved in while I was gone. And I was going to get some snacks, but you could definitely put like one of those Reese's peanut butter cup eggs in here, along with some other little chocolate eggs or a Cadbury egg along with that. It's definitely big enough for that. It's not real tiny. So that goes together really fast, and it's just a 6x6 sheet of designer paper. You really even wouldn't have to put the bunny on. You could just add some sort of a little tag if you wanted to. I really think this tag would have been really cute on there to bring that pink color in, but yeah, it wasn't meant to be because I couldn't stamp. So we've got our little Easter card and our little Easter basket with our little bunnies on it. So that is my Easter little treat to you today. And now I've got one more card. Hopefully you're still hanging with me. I'm just going to put these stamps away. This next card, oh, I saw this. This is one I didn't have done before I left. And I said to my mom, I've got to do one more card yet when I get home. And I kept seeing this on Pinterest and on a couple of different places where it's different demonstrators that I follow. And I was like, oh, I need to try that. I need to try it. Force myself to try it. So I did when I got home last night. It felt really good to get back and at least do some stamping before I came on live with you because otherwise I was like, oh my gosh, am I going to remember how to do this? I haven't done this for over a week. All right, so I'm using the Dainty Delight. The paper is gone because that was Celebration, but these dies were still here. So I'm using this, it's like a greenery that we're going to use. And then I also used, there's a lot of different flowers in here. I opted to use this one that looks kind of like a little daisy, I guess, or I don't know. I think it's more of like a daisy. And this technique is called the lattice. I think it's called a floating lattice, maybe. I'm starting with some thick white, basic white, and this is 11 by 4 1/4, and I scored it at 5 1/2. And then I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'll show you what I'm gonna do with it. And then I have another piece that is 8 1/2 by 5 1/2. I scored it at 4 1/4 like a regular card. But then what I did is after it was folded, I put it in my trimmer and I came to 4 1/4. So there's 4 1/4. I basically just slid it over just a little bit. So it was a little bit to the right of 4 1/4. And I trimmed that. And then I went to 5 1/2 and I did the same thing. So here's 5 1/2. I moved it just a smidge to the right. It says just cut off a smidge on each side. So that's what I ended up doing. So it's just a smidgen shorter than 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And you'll see why when we get into doing this. All right. So this one, it says I have to cut off 3 1/4 from the bottom. So I'm going to cut off 3 1/4. Take this at 3 1/4, and I'm going to get my scoring blade out of there, and I'm going to cut that. Okay. Then what I need to do with the rest of it, I should put this here. I'm going to cut off 5 1/2 inch strips. So I'm just going to slide this over and I'm going to cut off a half and another half. So this will be 2 and then 3 and 4 and 5. Okay, with this strip that I have left, it's 3/4 of an inch. I'm going to cut it in half, which is going to be 3/8 of an inch. So that's an 1/8 of an inch smaller than a 1/2 of an inch. So it's just a little bit smaller than those pieces that I was cutting. Okay, so these are just a little bit thinner. I'm going to set those off to the right. I'm going to bring my trimmer, get that out of here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this back in. And what we're going to do is we're going to build a little lattice here. Now, what I need to do, I buy this from Amazon, and it's just Post-it tape. So it's removable tape. You could also use, I have some of this. We no longer have this available, but it's washi tape. So you could use washi tape if you wanted to. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a really big piece, and I'm reusing what I used last night because I didn't want to have to keep using more tape. So I'm using this with the sticky side up. I'm attaching it to the middle of this, and I'm pulling it straight, and I'm taking another piece and I'm taping it down. And I also cut a couple of pieces because I wanted to tape this down up here so that that didn't move as well. Okay, so I have the sticky side up so that I can build my lattice. Now, when I made mine last night, I found that it was easiest to start at the bottom and match up this corner with this. So this is one of my 1/2 inch strips. I'm going to match up each of these corners and set that across there. Might have lost some of its stickiness. We'll do another thing. Someone else that demonstrated this used a block, or they used an ink pad and they put it down with that as well. You could do that, and you could hold it down on the bottom with that too. So you could just take your ink pad or one of the blocks and just set it there as well. Okay, then I'm gonna do the top here. I'm just leaving a little bit of a, I want to get it straight, and I'm sorry if my head's in here. Stand up. Okay, and then what I didn't see anyone else do this, but I'm really bad with judging how far apart things have to be. So I split the difference on those two and cut it in half and did my middle one. Okay, and I'm making sure that it's attached to this tape. And then I split this one. I'll make sure that these are straight. And I'm kind of looking at it as an angle because my head can't really go straight on, or it would be in the camera. And I'm splitting the difference on those two. Okay, now before I remove this tape, what I'm going to do with these two pieces is it's going to be like a little lattice coming along the side, and I really don't want it over that far. What I did last night when I was making this is I kind of set one of them off to the side like this. And what I did was I took my liquid glue, and with that along the side so that I could kind of keep it straight, actually move this up just a tad, is I put a little dot of glue just to the left of that. There we go. And each one of these strips has to get just a little dot of glue. You don't want to do too much because you don't want your glue oozing out. And then this strip is going to go on there. Okay, so I'm just making sure that I'm pressing down the glue, making sure that this is sticking on each of those little lattices. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing with this one. I'm going to put my strip down, and I'm going to take my glue, and this time to the right of it, I'm going to put my little dabs of glue. So we got one there, there, on each of the lattices. And then I'm just going to take this, make sure you got it straight. And again, you don't want it oozing out all over, so you don't want to do too much. Okay, you can remove all this tape. And now carefully, I'm going to remove that Post-it. Okay, and now I'm going to trim what's left. I don't know where my non-ribbon scissors went, but I'm using my ribbon one here real quick. I'm going to trim that off just like that. Okay, so I'm making like a little lattice type, I think that's what they were calling it. Now I'm using some of the Irresistible Blooms paper. This is just one of the sides that has like a watercolor wash on it. What we're going to do is we're going to put a card inside of here so that you're going to open this up, and then you're going to open up like a regular card. Isn't that cool? So I'm going to attach this to the bottom of this piece. And this measures 4¼ just a smidgen less, by 3½ I cut it. I'm just going to line this up corner to corner. Now, because I did take a little smidgen off, I tried to do it with the designer paper, but if it doesn't line up, you could always just trim a little bit off there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add liquid glue to the back of this whole thing and line this up inside of here for the part of my card that's actually going to open up with a greeting. Now, I probably should have stamped my greeting first before I put that down, but I got way too excited and I put this down. Last night I had my greeting stamped before I did this. Okay, see how having that paper just makes that lattice stand out. So it's going to open that way, and then it's going to open that way. Okay, on the front, hopefully I can stamp this without causing any problems because I now put it all together. I'm actually going to use my bone folder here and see if I can get this to crease a little better. Okay, I don't know where those came from, but there we go. That's a little bit better. All right, I'm going to take from that stamp set, I am going to take the Celebrate You. We're going to make a spring birthday card. So Celebrate You. And this is in Flirty Flamingo because that is one of the colors that is in that paper. Let's see if I can get this right. Oh gosh, thank goodness. Thank you, Lord. Right, Celebrate You. And then our happy birthday is going to go on the inside. All right, I did pretty good. Right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to decorate this like you would kind of a trellis is what I kind of looked at it as. I have a trellis on the side of my house and that's what I kind of did to decorate it. So I have a full one of these that we're going to put on here. Okay, and then the other thing that I did was on the one that I made last night, I took half of one. So this is the other half of it. And we're just going to try to find a place. I think I'm going to cut it right about there maybe. And let a little bit of it roll up that way. Okay, so that we're going to add some greenery to this. And then we're going to put some flowers on that. Yes. So to put this down, I didn't want to put this on an adhesive sheet because I don't need glue everywhere. Because of these little openings, I didn't want glue absolutely everywhere. But I knew that these first top ones, that there was enough room for me to put glue on all of these little petals or leaves. So I did that to start out with. I'm going to get this out of here. All right, and I think I might have had my Celebrate You up a little bit higher on my one that I made, but that's all right. We'll make it work with where we have it. Okay, and then what I did was I came back in, and if you want to, you can just kind of bend these back and add a little dot of glue where they could be glued down, but you don't really have to. I found that just adding a little bit at the top and at the bottom held it in place. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and add some glue to the second little thing that I added here, this half a piece. And let's see where we can stick that in. I think if I stick it in right there. Okay, then the other thing that I did was I took some of the colors from this piece of paper that I had put in there and I cut out some of those. I did do this is going to be for the inside. That thing is tiny. But I have some Daffodil Delight, some Petal Pink, and some Flirty Flamingo. And what I found looked kind of cool on this was if I took some of these and I layered them on top of each other. So I have here a Petal Pink and a Daffodil Delight. And I'm just going to layer them on top of each other to get a couple of the colors in those flowers, kind of like how a daisy or some of these flowers have um, they can have multiple colors to them. I just felt like it looked cool that way. So I ended up, here we go. So there's one of them. It's got Daffodil Delight, Petal Pink. And then we'll do a Daffodil Delight and a Flirty Flamingo. So again, a glue dot in the center is all that it really takes. And then just matching up or putting in the space between each petal. There we go, overlapping them. So there's the second one. And then we'll do a petal pink and a flirty flamingo together. I just thought this technique, this card was so cute and so unique. All right, so I've got that. And then I think I'm going to do just a Daffodil Delight and a Daffodil Delight in case I need a fourth one. We might be okay with three. The one that I did yesterday, it sort of needed an extra one because of how much green I had, but this one has a little bit less green. So we'll see how it goes. All right, I think I'm going to put that there. Put that one up there. I think we might be able to, I think we can put one there too. We'll put four, just like I did on the one that I made for today. Just going to go ahead and add a glue dot. You could raise them up if you wanted to, but I thought that just using a glue dot was good enough. You do want to make sure that you're putting them on actually one of the places where there is one of these crossbar things, your lattice or whatever. How did that happen? I ripped the paper when I was putting it on the glue dot. I don't even think I have glue on there. Wow, this one does not want to pick up a glue dot. Let me put the glue dot down. Every once in a while that happens to me where the glue dot tears the paper. I think I still have enough of the flower left. There we go. All right, then what I did was I took these faceted gems, I think that's what they're called, and they have one that's like a petal pink, and it just made this glitter. I'm just adding it to the center of each of these flowers. And then I still had some white space left. And as I was looking at the cards I made before I left for spring break, I was like, oh, dang, I could go ahead and use those butterflies to fill in any white spaces that I still had left. So we've got our little butterflies and our bigger butterflies. And so I'm going to use a little bit of a combination of both of them. I'm going to put one on this lattice here. I'm going to put a little bit bigger one up there where we've got some white space and another one up there. So we've got a few little butterflies on there. Okay, and I wish that I would have stamped the Celebrate You a little bit higher, but that's okay. It's looking good. All right, then I still have this left. I am going to overlap those two. To make one more flower. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a glue dot on the back of this. And then I'm going to glue dot it to this stem. Sorry about that. I had to bring it up a little bit closer to me so I could see what I was doing here. So I'm glue dotting that stem to it because that'll hold my stem in place without having to put glue on this tiny little thing. I'm going to put one more glue dot on there now that the stem's over the top of it. I'm going to put that inside of here. I am going to trim this so that it doesn't show through the lattice. And then I did have, here they are, Got a couple of things in my little bag here that I cut ahead of time. Oh, thanks, Linda. Yeah, I watched a couple of different videos when I saw this design, and I kind of combined a couple of things that different people had said. Sometimes that happens. Like you can get a whole bunch of different ideas or tips from different people, and if you combine all of them, kind of makes your what you're making, or you find the best way to do it for you. Oh shoot, I just got too much glue here. There we go. I should use my take your pick tool. I added that little center there. And then we have these little leaves that we can put on the end here. There we go. I'm just going to put one there. And we'll put one over here. Get a little glue on there. Okay, so when you open it up, you've got all these little prettiness, celebrate you on the outside. Open it up and you still got a little flower there, and then open it up and you've got your happy birthday. Now, what I might do, but I didn't plan, let me just see if I have enough here. I think I do. I'm going to cut off. Give me just a second on my trimmer here. I'm going to cut off just like about 3/8 of an inch of this paper. I think I'm just going to add a little bit of this paper to the inside of our card, just to give it a little bit more than just that happy birthday. Just thought that, you know what I might do is I might even do that part. I'm going to do the other side where the little white dots are. That looks cool too. So we're just going to go like this and add that to the inside. And there is our finished card. We will go ahead and add, I think I still have enough. I don't know. Go figure, right? Let's see. I gotta find that paper. Here it is. Let's see if I can find, here's another piece. I will just go ahead and add this, and then I will cut it after. You only need about 2.25 to 2.5 inches, but by cutting off that little strip, mine isn't thick enough or wide enough. So we'll go like that. And I still have all of this that I could use to make another card if I wanted to. Just gonna trim. There we go. All right, so there is our envelope to match our lattice card with the pretty flowers. Okay, kind of making it look like a little trellis that they're running up. And then we have our Easter card that we made with the little bunnies. Okay, so one card, two cards. And then we have our matching little Easter basket. I don't think I showed you my blue one. Here was the blue one that I made. I didn't really like the white handle. So when I made this one, I made it with the same color mint macron handle. I just thought that with the white ribbon, that looked better. And so those are our little ideas today. I'll come back to you here. Thank you so much for joining me today. I wanted to remind you that next week, again, I will be a little bit later because I have a card buffet and I will not be getting on until a little bit later. Karen, I don't know if you were on the whole time, but you won the challenge. So I will reach out to you today, or if you want to send me a message as to whether you want the boho blue mini or mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, or if you want to get a bundle. Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Karen and Diane. and Denise. Denise, I'll let you know if I end up getting a First Communion card that ends up that I like with that other set. I'll share it with you for an idea. I think that is it. I am off to do some laundry. And I have a couple of other things that I have to do. If you did get the little bunnies, the Easter bunny stamp set, if you still get that, I can still share the card set with you. I know it's past Lila's birthday, but heck, if you get it, I'm happy to share that with you. I will get that off in the mail for those of you that did order it. You should be getting it in the mail next week. And again, the Irresistible Blooms, you will get a pack of the loose frosted dots once they come back in again, along with a PDF with 6 ideas for using that suite of products. So thank you so much for joining me. I will see you again next week, just a little bit later next week. Have yourself a great week. I hope that I've inspired you to be creative this weekend. Thank you, Mary Linda. And I think that was it on YouTube. I don't think there were any questions on there. And yeah, I am a little bit tan. I'm very, very well rested and I am ready to get to work today. So thank you all so much for tuning in. Have a great weekend. Bye bye.